And good morning and welcome to the Broadband Committee meeting for December 17th, 2024. All public meetings are live streamed and recorded. Any written or verbal information provided may be included in public documents as per the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act FOIP 41. I'll call the meeting to order at 9:01. We have an agenda before us. Looking to adopt the agenda. Thank you, Councillor Lougheed. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. Thank you. Looking at to adopt the minutes of our last meeting in October, and are any errors and omissions on those minutes? If not, looking to adopt those minutes from October. Thank you, Deputy Melhoff. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. Now moving on to item 4, which is corporate services. We're looking for a verbal update. Good morning, Mr. McDonald.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. I'll give you an update. Most of it is in regards to our RFPs that we've put out. We've put out our first 2 RFPs for the Farrier and Nordegg areas, and they were posted a little while ago, and we do have an award that we will be awarding to Roll Construction out of, I'm going to get this wrong, Atchison, Alberta, which is west of Edmonton, I believe. Anyways, they've been at this, they've been in the construction and oil industry for 50 years, and I believe the telecom industry for about 20. Well-known group, came in very aggressive and did a very, very professional job on the RFP, so it was actually a pleasure reading it. The other RFPs that we're putting out for the one that is out physically right now is the one for the Caroline area. That's our south of us, Rocky Mountain House, for people watching. And it's posted to close on January 16th, 2025. We figure we should leave it open over the holidays and, people, so that, people can have a life. And the other 2 will be going out in January, the first week of January, for our other phases that are northwest of us for the other 2. The other RFP that's out is the fiber splicing and installation one. It's out, and it will close on the same date as the 16th. For that, so that's out, and the other ones will be posted again in the new year for the build to the homes and whatnot. And the other one that's the other RFP that's out, we've been doing a little bit of RFPs, by the way, is the materials one, and it's out, and we're just in the midst of awarding it. It's not awarded to just one company because there is many companies that supply things, so it's sort of 3 or 4 different companies that have sort of risen to the top that can supply on time with good quality pieces and parts and all those kind of things, and working out ways of doing delivery so that it's not specifically just coming into one spot. We want them to deliver to the construction companies sort of on time delivery so that we don't have to take up as much space in our, limited space in our area, So there's those kind of things are coming out. So that's going to be a mix of awards for the materials. I'll get on to new telecom providers that have signed up. I'll give you a list of everybody that signed up, but I'll start with the new one that's just signed up is Missing Link, and they're out of Rimbey, Ontario. Oh God, Alberta. I apologize. Because there is one. Anyway, yes, I know. Thank you. Anyways, ta-da. And CFO is going to be working with us through their company called Northern Lights in the future too. So they've signed up for bandwidth and pop presence and all those kind of things. Missing Links can start with wireless, and then as we grow, they're going to grow with us. It's long time coming. It's much appreciated that they're working with us. We do have Bear's Paw still, and Stony Nakota, and Magna, not Magna. Mage, oh my God, today, mouth problems. Mage also, working with us, and, you know, a few others on the line too. So we're getting more and more interest, which is fantastic, and starting to really, you know, starting to take off a little bit, so that's nice. CFO this week, Canadian Fiber Optics, for anybody watching, sorry, I shouldn't just use truncated words. They're starting construction this week on our southern, on the southern route that they did. So that's really good news. They're gonna work through the winter. That's their plan. I don't know if I'd want to work through winter, but that's theirs. Our engagement piece is starting early January. We're gonna be having an online presence for our portal that we showed you. And that should be ready very shortly. We did pause a little bit because our communications people were, to say the least, overwhelmed over the last month. So we didn't want to push any more down on them. So, you know, patience is the better part of valor, I guess, in that case. That's that. See if folks, sorry, I think that's pretty much it for me, unless, of course, there's, oh.
Okay. Yep, we have a few questions here, so I was waiting for you to finish and then. we'll
Yeah, I know,
start.
stop me from rambling.
That's all right, that's all good.
Apologize.
That's all right. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. I've got a couple, actually.
Sure.
You were saying that the RFPs for Farrier, Nordig, and you said Roll or Knoll? Roll out of Atchison.
Yeah.
When are they actually projected to have people hooked up? Like, when is that build projected to be done?
We'll probably bring that back in another report once we've got the design, because they still have to do the design work, because it's a build design. So they have to do.
Are we not doing all the design work?
No, we did the conceptual design that helps them sort of go, it's like 10% of the design. So we're actually, it was like, you guys read the RFP, so it's design build. So they're gonna do the hard design work, the engineering, all the permits, crossings, all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're doing. So as we get out with that, their schedule, we'll be able to probably inform you a lot better. Like, I want to inform you, but I want a real good, solid schedule before I say things like this. But we're definitely looking for early spring to dig in the ground, and it's part of what was in their contract was a timeline to get all things done before, of course, before the end of 2026. So
Just confirm, we own those designs, though?
oh,
in the end?
100%.
Okay.
We always own all of our engineering.
Just want to make sure, because sometimes.
I just always wonder where that question comes from.
Because sometimes you don't, depending on the engineer, like
Yeah, that's true.
some bridge and road engineering, you don't
Okay.
necessarily own it. So, and with
Yeah.
a project that is this extensive and with the chances of if a line is struck or something, we need to be able to go back and look at
Oh,
where
absolutely, yeah.
we need to
So-
own all of that drawing.
Yeah, we
so.
own that. We actually have, what we do after, you know, when we close these RFPs, just for information, we close these and there's what called as-builts, because as you know, construction, things change. So what they do is they make sure everything's really accurately lined, because it's, you know, it's different than on paper than in the ground. So we GPS everything, and then we have a piece of software that we put it in. And again, it was part of the Alberta One Call, and so that we always know where our everything is. We actually have software that monitors the fiber and so that we know when it's hit too, that instant that it gets hit. So, and then what we'll do is we'll parse out where that was hit, so we can respond as fast as we can, you know.
Perfect.
Within reason.
I have another, if there's
Okay.
no other lights.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. As you know, we're gonna be going out to the public for land use bylaw, public meetings. Is there an opportunity to have a table there with some information for
absolutely.
the public? I think that two birds, one stone, that way we can be piggybacking on that.
And I think we could probably piggyback on that, and then we also have those engagement pieces that we introduced to you earlier, that, you know, we'll have our, I always get these wrong. I'm gonna say town hall, it's not. it's where everybody gathers, and we're gonna give them information about that. So if we could have them in concert, that would be fantastic. You
Right, and
know,
then we
more
can
the
work
merrier.
together. Absolutely, and then that way, we're only paying for the hall once, we're not paying for it twice, the people only have to come out once rather than multiple
Yeah.
times. There might be some benefit to
And
doing those
we-
together.
And we'd like to, you know, ideally, and I'm probably a little out of turn here, but I'd like to invite our ISPs out to those too, so they can sort of talk to them too, excuse me. So I'll invite them, I guess that's the word. So those kind of ideas is what's gonna be happening with that engage piece, so that we can start, you know, bragging about ourselves and doing all, you know, all of good work that you guys have done.
For sure, thank you.
That's a great idea. I think that anytime you can piggyback on
Never
those
hurts.
things.
Yeah.
People only want to drive the road once, so anyways. I think
Yeah,
that's good.
absolutely.
Yep, great. Counselor Cernak?
I wasn't listening. I need to know. I do. I make lots of mistakes. So, Rolo, you said what area were they doing, and they're starting in the spring?
So what they're doing, Roll, is the construction company. They're gonna be installing the conduit, the vaults, and they're gonna be doing our design work for the main runs and the distribution and the access. So they're gonna be putting all the conduit in and all that kind of stuff.
In which area?
In Farrier and Nordegg, sorry about that.
Okay,
So that's where they've won those, there was 2 RFPs, they won both of them. Which is really good, so, I think, that means they've definitely put their pencils in.
that's in the north part of Nordic and the south?
That's-
Or is
yeah.
the south already done?
Well, that's a good question, because there is conduit there that I have to do an inspection on to see if it's usable, and I think that's us reaching out to a local gas company to see if they're using their older conduit that's been there for 20-ish years. I don't know if they're gonna abandon it and re-put theirs in, but that's a conversation I'd like to sort of have down the road. I don't know if they're, like, cause I believe that conduit there may be stale dated, I don't know. I don't know about the gas industry enough, so, but we do wanna reach out and see if there's anything there that we can use. You know, make it a little cheaper, so there's some investigation, probably some vac trucks and stuff. I've tried to look at, drawings and drafts and stuff, and I haven't seen anything that I can find, but I think it's some investigations in there that see if we can save a little money here and there. But it's north and south as much as we can do. And then places like Horberg and, all those other spots, Misty Valley, and then up around Crimson, up there on that, Chicken Ranch Road too. So we'll be looking at doing as much as we can.
So we did put our conduit in the new section when we were putting in the shallow services.
Oh, in the new shallow services, in some pieces, I've put conduit in with vaults.
Yeah.
That, we did. In the new ones that are being built, we're in communications with Public Works. And if we can, we'll supply them. So we're talking to their engineers, and I can't think of who the engineer is up there. Is WSP? Maybe not. I don't know who the engineer is up there, but we're talking to them anyways. I just can't remember off the top of my
But
head.
I'd hate to have to dig once, splice it all in the shallows.
Yeah,
and-
sometimes digging once and twice the problem is what we're putting in the ground is, you know, narrow and deep, you know, about a meter deep. And then some of the machinery that they use, to build a road or build the ditches is so big, the bucket's so big, it doesn't make sense to do it because it destroys sometimes it's easier just to put the plow down or just have one of those, you know, they look like a chainsaw that
Yeah.
just cuts it down. It's cheaper to do
Ditcher.
that than it is to run, you know, a 245 cat or something down the road.
But that's done while construction
Yeah.
is in.
Yeah, we're trying to do it, we
Yes.
don't try to be in the way, we usually do it afterwards, cause we don't wanna, one, they're probably gonna still be shaping the slopes and they could hit our stuff if they go too deep by mistake, so it's usually better after, I think, Eric told me exactly when, but just before the sod, for lack of better words, or before the grass goes in.
Good. Thank you.
Deputy Reeve Melhoff?
Thank you, Reeve. I didn't think a ditch witch would work out in Nordic. It's
Some
too much
stu-
rock.
Well,
That's
a lot of the
interesting.
stuff in Nordig in the northern section is, they built the road and then they built
Oh, okay.
ditches. So you actually have not loose rock.
Yeah.
That's easier to get through
Okay.
than it is, obviously in the cut. Because a lot of it's through there and I think I actually asked Rick this too a long time ago.
No, that's great.
It's easier to go through there than it is obviously to go up on the banks where it's solid
Yeah.
rock, so.
For sure, no, that's
Should be
great.
a little easier and I think,
Unfortunately, I actually forgot to bring my operating binder with me, so I apologize in advance.
Okay.
I was trying to look it up, but I did have a question with regards to revenues. Because I know that for the last 3 years, we've had projected revenues, and we've not actually been able to meet those. What is the projected revenues for 2025 in the operating budget? And are we confident we'll actually meet those this year?
it's a good question. I'll leave that to the
I
accounting
apologize
group.
for not bringing my binder. The steers were out this morning. It's okay. So, 4-H is great.
Director, big of you one of those mornings. I know, I don't have to, I just see the M, so anyways, Director Hagan.
Oh,
Get
good,
new
I'm not the
glasses.
only one.
Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, committee members. The draft budget amount for revenue for broadband for 2025 is $503,000. It was $350,000 for 2024. That is based on the current business plan that is in place. We're hopeful that we'll see that. We'll keep the committee and council updated on our progress towards that. But of course, some of that is contingent on our success in construction and ISPs coming on board, in addition to ones that already have, and getting people signed up and getting the connection to the houses and businesses and so forth. So certainly keep you up to date on that as time goes on this year.
Supplementary
Yep,
to that?
go ahead.
Thank you. Are you bringing back the hookup fees? Because I know we had discussed it at one point, and we had just put a placeholder, but we had not actually made the final decision. So that's coming back in the new year as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Cermak.
You alluded to that we have some new ISPs
Yes.
wanting to come. Can you elaborate on how many, and does it look pretty promising?
We do
Or
have
how
a-
many ISPs will we have associated with us?
Well, right now we've got 5 ISPs associated with us, which is, I think it's a pretty good number to have. Any more that are coming, we do have, more expressions of interest out there that we're talking. I can't allude to who.
Yeah, no.
That's for sure. I know that we have another 4 that are interested. Whether they sign up, I can't guarantee that. And whether they're interested, because I think what's gonna happen too, eventually there'll be a tipping point where they're gonna see too many ISPs here. Or that they are doing a different service that's not ISP. They could be selling, they could be looking at a different, avenue like, IoT or just servicing the oil industry or something like that. So they wouldn't be necessarily ISPs, they might be different companies. So we do have those in the wings, probably another 4 of those. So about 8 to 9 other interested parties that we still sort of, lack of a better word, courting. Each myself a little on that one. So yeah, we do have definite interest and I guess more to come. And then as soon as I know something, this committee will know, that's for sure.
Director Hagan?
If I may just add a couple of items to that, Cam and Tim and I attended a conference in November to do with broadband, and we had several providers approach us, very interested in what we're doing here, and trading business cards back and forth and so forth. So we're expecting that may come to fruition as well and provide further opportunity. I think it's worth mentioning as well and letting the public know that Ragstar Group, or RSG, who is our contracted network operator, as part of that contract, they are also our default ISP through their company ABNet. And if we go to an area where we say have 3 or 4 ISPs plus ABNet, businesses and homeowners will have a choice of who they want to provide service. If we're in an area where there aren't any other ISPs, ABNet will provide that service, so that we will have coverage and service provided everywhere that we're hooking up.
I'll go to Councillor Northcott.
Thank you very much. Just a question first. So there's about $503,000 for projected revenues for 2025, right? Just wondering what the operating and maintenance costs or budget would be for 2025. I don't have a binder either.
Yeah. Director Hagan.
What we're looking at for 2025 for operating expenses is $1,730,585, and that is down just over $356,000 from the 2024 amount. And the largest reason it's down is that we've reallocated some of the salaries and contracted services that would otherwise be attributable to operating to focus on the capital projects for the next couple of years. So if you recall, within the approved business plan, there was a graph showing our revenues on an upward slope and operating expenses slightly sloped, but not as steep. And there will be a break-even point in a number of years where we expect that those revenues, as they increase, will catch up to those operating expenses and actually go past them.
Okay, no, I just wanted to have that clarity that at this point in time, the revenues they're not a sufficient amount there to fund the operating and maintenance costs.
You're correct, because it's early in the process.
Thank you.
Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. A hot topic right now with the amazing announcement out of Greenview with regards to data centers. Is there an opportunity for us to have a workshop in the new year on this so that we can make sure that Clearwater County, along with potential other partners, i.e. utilities in the area, are set up and ready to do this as well? Because we were first at the gate to talk about fiber in rural Alberta, and we're not first at the gate to get some of this critical industrial assessment because of it. So it'd be great if we could have a workshop in the new year on this very topic, so Clearwater County is situated to do the same thing that Greenview has done.
Director Hagan.
Thank you. The CAO may want to also add to this, but certainly we could even build that into upcoming broadband committee meetings in the new year, and look at what some of the requirements are for somebody to be interested in building, because it goes beyond just our fiber connections. I'm very confident that we're going to be able to provide the bandwidth that's required, but there's also the electricity, the water for cooling, that sort of thing. So we can bring some of that information and discuss it with the committee in the new year.
That would be great, because if we can situate Clearwater County to be able to be one of the people that we go, over here, we're ready for you, and I'm sure we can work with many of our partners. We can leverage a lot of the partnerships we have in Clearwater County in order to be ready for this kind of investment. I think that we're in a great position for that, if we can be ready. So that'd be awesome if we can add that to a future broadband committee meeting so we can have that conversation.
CEO Emmons.
Thank you. And just so the committee's aware, administration has engaged. I've personally been involved in those meetings already. We have been laying out that groundwork and making ourselves known and have attracted individuals. So as far as interest and questions and meetings, just those early stages have to stay private until they're ready. If I may, couple of things. I really appreciate Committee Member Melhoff bringing up questions on budget. This is the meeting that's appropriate for that. So please, anybody has any questions, Ms. Haight has pulled up the budget on the screen for convenience. So if any member wants to reference it, we can scroll through to the appropriate page in light of having the information available. The other thing I wouldn't mind just quickly commenting on, really appreciate the conversation about taking advantage of the open houses for land use bylaws. Understand people's time and convenience. From a communication perspective, both are very large topics. I might just want to throw out that one topic could detract from the land use bylaw that has been worked on for months and months as well. Again, it's just a bit of a concern that it might take away from the good work that that committee's also done.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, but at the same time, one could attract the other one. And that's the way I look at it, right? Somebody who's interested in LUB, that's not necessarily interested in broadband, could come at the same time and learn about both. And perhaps it's an opportunity to make sure the venues that we set up at are distinctly different. They're not combined. I'm anticipating a station effect like we did for the amalgamation meet and greet at Caroline, something like that. I'm thinking we have our experts, but it's an opportunity, if not an in-depth, but at least to keep it top of mind, because we do know that broadband does use right-of-ways and in that end of things, so there's a little bit of a cross, but yeah, I hear what you're saying in regards to that. So it's funny because I had a conversation yesterday with a couple of, I'll just say, young families, and they live in town, and they were really jealous about what was happening out in the county in regards to broadband. So anyway, maybe they'll move. Who knows? Are there any other questions in regards to the budget or in regards to the update of what's been presented to us at this time? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Cermak.
That increase in the material goods and supplies by 20,255, is that inflation, or is that just that we've ordered more material? Or is it a combination of the two?
It's actually a combination of three things.
Okay.
So a little inflation, we have ordered a few more materials, and what happens typically is when, typically when a new ISP comes on, there's pieces and parts to supply with them for partnership. We have racks, the server racks that we showed you.
Yep.
They're there, and until we have the client, we don't order the rack. We order the rack when they've signed, and then we do that. So some those little things like that, we make sure they're covered that way. So it's a little bit of all three things.
So inflation isn't that bad this year compared
No.
to other years?
No, I think inflation is holding pretty good for us this year. I'm seeing it in the materials and stuff like that. It's been pretty good. Certain things that are out of Canada are a little more expensive, and the stuff that's produced in Canada is a little bit, I'd say, even. It really hasn't, yeah.
Our dollar has something to do with that too, and you're going out of Canada.
Brutal, yeah. The dollar exchange is brutal right now.
Oh, absolutely, I know.
Yeah, so we try to buy obviously we try to buy as much Canadian stuff as we can, and local and all that kind of stuff that's made, at least manufactured in Canada would be perfect. Not all of it is, but we get what we can.
Yeah, perfect.
Director Hagan?
Thank you, and if I can just add to that explanation as well. We are anticipating a significant increase in the cost of materials in the next few years as the United States ramps up their broadband projects. So I think we're actually ahead of the curve right now, and that's part of our strategy in terms of issuing our materials now at the beginning of this project so that we can stock up before those increases potentially come into play.
Oh, yeah, we were doing that too.
All right. So with that, if there's no other questions, we can have a motion to accept the verbal update for information. Thank you, Councillor Lougheed. I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. And now moving on to item 5, which is our closed session. Looking for a motion to go into closed session. Okay, Deputy Milhoff makes the motion. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. And welcome back. We were just out of closed session, and there's one motion coming out of closed session that I will make, and that is that the committee approves the draft legal response as amended. Any other comments, questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? And that motion's carried. And we're going to go to a quick break. And welcome back. We've just had a quick break, and we are just about to conclude our agenda, but there's been a few more extra questions come about, so go ahead, Councillor Cermak.
Yes, thank you, Reeve. I have asked a couple of the Broadband Committee and Finance to come back in and enlighten me on some more information about the final works of Broadband, and I would like to know when that more information can be given to us.
Go ahead, Director Hagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Too many agencies.
I'd be happy to answer that question. Administration is currently developing a presentation, and we hope to bring that to the first meeting of this committee in the new year. I think it'd be particularly helpful for the interim council with a new council member as well that will be trying to get up to speed on this whole project. And what that presentation, what you can expect to see there is some history of broadband project development throughout the years and encompassing several councils, and bringing us to where we are today, as well as a snapshot of where we think we're going in the future with the funding that's been provided. As well, we put together a summary of all the money that's been spent on the project to date and what's being projected to be spent in the next few years. So what we're hoping is that that will provide information not only for this committee and a new member, but also for the public in general. And our intention would be to take that information in some format and put that on our website following the meeting so that it's available for public consumption, and then look to update that on a regular basis as well so that it remains current. Does that answer your question?
That is absolutely what I was looking at, for something that we can put out to the public and say exactly what Broadband is going to be doing over the next couple of years or 3 years.
Absolutely, and if I may, I think that rolls right into our engagement strategy that we'll be implementing in the new year as well, where we are getting that information to the public and educating and informing and moving ahead.
So it's going to curtail on all what we're going to be doing, budgets, revenues, expenses, materials, everything. It's going to be all encompassing.
Absolutely.
That we can do.
And we've shared the budget information for the next 4 years, last week through budget deliberations, and then some of the questions that came up earlier today as well. So that information is already public in terms of the budget for the next number of years. I'm on wait now. I'm excited about the new year.
Okay.
I want to see all this new information, and I hope the rest of the committee is as exciting about it as I am, because this county needs it. With the new power plants that may be coming in, we may be getting some pretty big businesses into our county, which Broadband is going to fit right in with it. So pretty exciting. So stay tuned, people. It needs to be done in the new year.
That's awesome. Thank you for your excitement, Councillor Cermak. Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
I apologize, I didn't actually hit.
Okay, no worries.
Normally
Just
it
have
is
it.
me.
No, it's all good. Is there any further comments or questions for the administration from the Broadband Committee? Seeing none, one last item on our agenda, and that is to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Okay, Councillor Northcott, thank you so much. All those in favor? And thank you.